Happy Monday, listeners. Welcome to episode 9 of the Sneak Preview. I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
I'm Austin Johnson.
And this is our newest podcast where we follow the current movie release calendar. Today, we were able to get to do 3 out of 4 of this week's biggest releases, which means we'll be discussing Minari, Tom and Jerry, and the United States versus Billie Holiday. We were not able to get to The Father, as it is a theater release, and it was not playing anywhere near us. When we can access it, we will discuss it on the show. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce a special guest host for today's show, Brianna Moore. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. Longtime listeners may recognize Brianna as Austin's girlfriend. She's here to help us unravel some movies.
Oh yeah, gonna be a lot of fun. We both got to watch 1.5 of these movies together, so yeah, it was fun.
Very nice. Before we get into that, let's take a look at what happened last week in film. Last week in film. So first up, trailer talk. Got 3 trailers to discuss. First up, The Vault, starring Freddie Highmore and Liam Cunningham, has a tentative March 26th release date. I only stumbled onto this movie because it's what I do. I don't know what I really have to say about this. Heist movies are kind of all the same these days. If you want to see The Good Doctor rob a bank with Davos, this is the movie.
That's perfect.
Yeah. British production, looks fairly by the numbers. The trailer kind of revealed the entire movie. It's one of those.
Yeah, definitely a pass.
Yeah. Next up, speaking of heist movies, seems to be in the air these days, Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, releasing on Netflix May 21st. This has been getting a lot of news for some reason, and I want to like it, but the trailer made it look like friggin' Suicide Squad with zombies.
Oh, really? Yeah. I've stayed away from this trailer so far because I've heard some noise about it. That's disappointing.
It just looks like, I don't know what I've kind of exhausted all the shit I can say about Zack Snyder at this point. I'm just repeating myself now.
Yeah, no one can blame you.
Yeah. Brianna, have you seen anything of Zack Snyder's? You like any of his movies?
His name is jogging a memory, but I can't put a face to it for some reason.
He looks like every mid 2000s high school football quarterback who didn't get his way at prom and is punching a wall because of it.
Yeah, he's the guy behind some Superman stuff, some DC stuff.
Yeah, Man of Steel, okay. Batman v Superman. Watchmen was good, but I don't think it's because of him. So he's that guy. Now he's doing zombie movies.
Yeah.
It's a zombie movie?
It's a zombie heist movie set in Vegas.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
It is a lot, yeah. Too much, I think.
Yeah, I feel like that's been done a lot. Like someone's trying to always twist different common plots.
It's a heist movie in Vegas
with zombies. It seems like something you would see on a TV show, when they're playing a really intense action trailer in the background. That's what the description sounds like to me.
Yeah, like on Rick and Morty. Whenever Rick's minutes.
Exactly, that's perfect.
You got ball fondlers, and then you have this. Yeah.
2 brothers in Vegas with zombies. They're robbing. It's exactly that.
Yes.
Oh, now I have to see it.
Yeah, just for jokes at this point for me, I would.
Oh God. So now a movie that I think actually looks pretty good. Pixar's new film LUCA, coming out on June 18th.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Pixar, they don't fail, really. I mean, their batting average is insane. And this looks great. It's Italian sea monsters. It's what if sea monsters had feelings? I have a cousin named Luca, so I'm excited to hear what he has to say about this.
Gonna be cool. Yeah, that's always fun when you have something that has your exact name to relate to. Yeah.
And he's the Pixar age. So
Oh, that's perfect.
yeah.
Oh, so 20. Oh, so 26. Yeah.
Well, he's not our Pixar age. He's the appropriate Pixar age.
Hey man, I don't know. With Soul and Onward, those are two pretty deep movies.
That's true. Yeah, Pixar age went up this past year.
That's the best thing about them is that they attack all age groups. That it's stuff that's relatable to everybody.
Yeah, and I like that they have a very wide rainbow of representation. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, they're trying. Yeah, they're really trying now.
We're going to Italy this time, so this will be looks cute. I don't really have reservations with Pixar. I'm pretty much like, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, same. Especially if it's on Disney Plus, a thing we already pay for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Next up, Angel Manuel Soto is directing a Blue Beetle movie for DC and Warner Brothers. This will be DC's first Latino superhero film, provided it does actually happen. Remember Joss Whedon's Batgirl movie? How about Cyborg, Justice League Mortal, Hawkman? Any of these? None of those happened. So DC is very good at planning movies. Making movies, not
It's just
Well, yeah, there's so many great ideas, so many great characters, but we have yet to see very good execution.
they could do so much, but it's like they're just halfway there, especially when you're like competing with like Marvel Studios.
My God,
Just not there.
After Avengers Endgame came out, like I'm surprised there wasn't a mass suicide at the DC head office. Like, it's not a battle anymore. The war has been won. At this point, it's just embarrassing.
Yeah, there's no coming back at that.
No. And I mean, anybody can come up with a good idea. I mean, if we're, if ideas made money, we'd all be billionaires. But yeah, I don't know. I would like to see this actually happen because Blue Beetle's a fairly interesting character. It's, a Hispanic kid finds this like ancient scarab that makes him like a demigod. So it's basically Shazam with a beetle and a Latino kid. But I realize
that's
it as
kind of dope. That's kind of dope. I mean, hey.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not holding my breath. I feel like DC's announcing a new movie like every other week, and they're not actually doing anything with these ideas. Speaking of DC, J.J. Abrams and Ta-Nehisi Coates are developing a Superman reboot with plans for Superman to be portrayed by a black actor. They're doing the Black Superman arc. And this could be really cool. But again, DC, ideas, just throwing them out there.
Well, yeah, it's like, hey guys, let's be the ones who do cast a black person, and that's really cool and all, and your intentions are fine, but like again, you still have to make a good movie.
Yeah. And is there any controversy behind that? Because I know anytime someone tries to like switch the race of like a really like household name character, there's some outrage somewhere.
There's the usual racial rabble rousers who freak out when suddenly a fictional character is a different race. But beyond that, mostly the Henry Cavill fans are upset that they're not going to get to see Cavill come back to the role.
Yeah,
but
that's understandable.
Yeah, he quit like 2 years ago, and I mean, the Snyder Cut's going to be like his swan song now. But I mean, he said for a while that he's done, so I don't know why this is news to people.
Yeah.
They're just holding out hope, probably.
Yeah, a name that's been tossed around. I know Michael B. Jordan had tried to do this movie a few years ago, and DC shot him down. So they might be bringing him back into this, which would be interesting.
I don't know if he want to go back after Panther, right? Because isn't there like possible talks of them trying to do? I feel like I heard something about a Killmonger something.
Yeah, They're trying. Fans think Killmonger should come back from the dead and be the new king of Wakanda. Which, I mean, did they see the first movie? That's a bad idea. But people really liked his character, so I can see them wanting him back. But I feel like it would kind of devalue the first movie if they just brought him back.
It would definitely take away from it, defeat the whole, basically one of the main plots of the movie. I don't want him to come back, but I did enjoy his character.
He was cool. I think it was a little bit more nuanced. He could be a really cool kind of anti-hero.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, it all depends on who gives him the juicier contract. Well, Marvel's good with, they take care of their actors. They develop good stories to give people good roles. They are penny pinchers. They do not like to pay. So, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Like Robert Downey Jr. was making like $50 million a movie. But like for the first Captain America, Chris Evans made like $800,000. Like
wow.
Crazy low amount of money. Terrence Howard tried to ask for a raise and they kicked his ass out and hired Don Cheadle. So
that explains that. I never looked into that, but I was like, huh.
Yep. He said like, he didn't do it in the smartest way. He went to Marvel and said like, I carried the first movie. I deserve this. And they're like,
yeah, battle of the egos is tough,
Yeah. So I don't know. But because Black Panther was such a hit and because Killmonger was such a fan favorite, Marvel might be willing to open the change purse a little.
Yeah, we'll see. I could see that.
I just want Nakia to just like take over Wakanda. That would be my preference.
No, it should be Shuri.
I think it should be Shuri too.
Either one, yeah.
Shuri is next in line.
Sure, but Nakia, I feel like is more has the more capabilities to lead. Shuri's a great behind the scenes person,
I can see that. Well, maybe they'll roll together. Maybe that'll be.
Yeah, that would be cool, right? They could, just be like a duo. Yeah.
I don't know. I really that's the movie I really am most curious about how they're going to handle it. Black Panther 2.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot.
Yeah, because I know they came out and said they're not going to recast Chadwick. They're going to go forward with the movie. So, I mean, that does not give them a lot of options, but it also enables a lot of creativity if they do this right.
Yep, exactly. It's a cool opportunity, I think.
Yeah, I think a great way to kind of celebrate his brief but very powerful legacy.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, right on. Speaking of Marvel's new Spider-Man movie has an official title. Spider-Man No Way Home. It's set for release on December 17th this year, but there is not a chance in hell that's going to happen.
No.
I mean, have they even started filming this yet? No.
And what's come on, that's going to be here before we know it.
You know what's weird? I keep hearing that WandaVision is supposed to lead into Doctor Strange 2, which is then supposed to lead into Spider-Man, but Spider-Man's scheduled to come out first. So I don't know what's going on there.
Not sure. I'm lost. When it comes to what's happening in the MCU.
I am constantly paying attention to that.
Hopefully it's something clever up their sleeve.
I'm sure they do.
Hoping.
Yeah. They still got to figure out a way to fit Black Widow into all this. That's just kind of been looming over everything.
How did I forget about that?
I'm just ready for Chloe Zhao's Eternals. That's what I'm ready for. That's
another thing that's just kind of been put on the back burner. Like we keep getting minor updates, but nothing really concrete's happening with Eternals.
I know. It sucks.
COVID's kind of thrown the whole MCU into, out of balance. All we've got is the TV shows now.
I'm ready to see Mahershala Ali and Blade. Like, come on. I'm ready for that.
Yeah. We're going to be waiting for that one for a long time.
I know. It sucks, dude. Well, Batman, we were just talking about DC. I can't wait to see Robert Pattinson. So yeah, it sucks, man.
Yeah, it does. It really does suck. But I'm sure we'll get all of this eventually. Nothing's been canceled. It's just been pushed. That's how I get through this.
Postponed and some stuff. Obviously, we're living in it right now. We're going to talk about movies that they're forced to find a home. Some of them, and obviously giant superhero movies want to get the theater play to make all the money, but some of them might have to maneuver and make, adapt. Who knows, man? It's the landscape is crazy right now.
Yeah, the first real blockbuster we're going to get to do is going to be Godzilla versus Kong, which will be a nice change of pace.
Yes, that is definitely a huge kind of blockbuster movie.
Yeah. As much as I love, thought-provoking dramas, this show has really turned into a goddamn downer.
Yeah, no kidding.
The films we've done since the start of this show have been very heavy and very emotional. So I'm looking forward to Godzilla, fighting King Kong in like Neo Tokyo, whatever the hell that was.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm ready.
David Fincher he's developing an assassin thriller for Netflix called The Killer with Michael Fassbender in talks to star, which confirms once and for all for me that we are never getting Mindhunter season 3. But
sad day.
I mean, a David Fincher serial killer movie with Michael Fassbender, I'll take it.
Yeah, here's my thing about David Fincher is that I'll take 2 movies of his over a season of Mindhunter like any day of the week. That's just how I am as a Fincher fan. I'll take more movies of his any day.
Torn. I really like Mindhunter.
Yeah, it's a great show, but I love his movies, and I want him to keep adding to his filmography. So.
Brianna, where do you stand on this?
I do not know how I feel about David Fincher, but I know that Austin loves his movies, so I'm willing to give one a try and see if it changes my mind.
That is going to be an interesting night that I need to hear about.
I'm trying to be more open-minded.
You've seen more than you probably realize. Zodiac, you've seen that one probably.
Yeah.
Social Network, Fight Club, Seven, Gone Girl. Yeah, those are
I've
all
seen
his.
all of those that you named, but Seven actually.
Yeah. No, you've sat through a lot of movies with me, and he's a guy I'm really into and rewatch his movies a lot. So, and Mank, he just had Mank come out. So, yeah, you've seen quite a few of them.
Yeah, I have to rewatch Mank. I didn't give it a fair shot.
Fair enough. That's fair. It's definitely an acquired taste, I think, at first. Yeah.
Well, the cool thing Mindhunter did is it gave David Fincher this relationship with Netflix that's going to pay off in dividends. So
yeah, 100%. Yeah. And Brianna, that's like that Mindhunter kind of tackles exactly what you love about TV shows. Like it's basically just true crime to the nitty gritty and with David Fincher's touch. So it's kind of cool.
It's the true story of the FBI behavioral science unit and how they formed to interview and catch serial killers.
Oh, I think, okay, I've heard about this. Yeah, that's definitely up my alley.
Yeah.
My uncle just started watching it, so it's been fresh in my head, and he's obsessed. And like the fact that they like filmed the serial killer interviews word for word from the actual recordings, that's so twisted, but really fascinating. So
actually, the first time I ever watched Mindhunter was like right around when I met both of you guys. It would have been sometime a little bit after meeting Brianna, and then right before meeting you, Connor, would have been when I first watched that sometime, in the late fall of 2017. Yeah. Crazy.
Right on. Yeah, it's a dark show, but it's
a trip. Yeah.
Very well written, very well filmed, and very well acted. I recommend it.
Yeah, for sure.
Moving on, Jeepers Creepers Reborn is happening and is getting a fall 2021 release date. And this one's not by the pedophile. So there's something. I should probably explain that.
Yeah, out of context. What the?
So the first 3 Jeepers Creepers were written and directed by a guy who went to prison for inappropriate behavior with a child. So a legit, he got out, made these movies, is still out. I have not seen Jeepers Creepers 3. I do like the first two. They're interesting movies. So
Jeepers Creepers.
I have a very I have a rough relationship with those movies because obviously I don't want to support the work of a monster, but they're also very creative films. So I'm torn with those. Those would be great Filmgazm movies just so I can kind of like unload all that shit.
Yeah, no, for sure. I know exactly what you mean. And it's something that you like connected with when you were younger. So and you kind of carry it with you. You know, you had no idea.
I watched Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2 and then later found out, oh shit. So yeah, it's rough. You know, it's like after you watch Chinatown, you find out about Roman Polanski, you're like, fuck, but I like Chinatown.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So
happens with fucking tons of musical artists now too. It sucks.
Yeah, it's like a domino effect at this point.
It's rough. Did you guys watch that Woody Allen thing on HBO?
No,
I saw it promoted though. What did you watch it? Do you know what it's about?
I do know what it's about. I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard like it is the most damning shit. Like it really like shows the dark, horrible stuff we've been hearing about Woody Allen for years. Really kind of paints it. It's the equivalent. It's the equivalent to that Michael Jackson documentary, like for Woody Allen. So it's like Woody Allen's adopted. Like Mia Farrow's daughter talks about how Woody Allen made advances on her when she was a kid.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, fuck. Yeah.
So, on the plus side, people are finally saying Woody Allen might be too toxic to get hired by a studio again. So it took like half a century, but we might have finally gotten rid of Woody Allen.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like, you know, he was able to operate for so long and has like already had his career, you know, and I don't know. It's weird. It's weird because he's a guy you kind of, there's plenty of people who have fallen in love with his work, you know, and like for me, Purple Rose of Cairo is a movie we watched recently, you know, for Oscar Sunday. And I was like, kind of fucking dig this movie. And, you know, you have to confront that stuff, you know, and definitely the guy just should not work anymore.
So many of his films are about like older, weird, neurotic men getting into relationships with younger, like beautiful women. And the dude married his stepdaughter. I mean, beyond that, like, do you need any more information? I mean, that's
right. Yeah. Like, you don't need anything else on paper. That's for sure. Jesus.
God. Yeah. Woody Allen is a guy, because of Oscar Sunday, we're not really going to be able to escape. So he's going to come up a lot.
Yeah, no, I'm ready to do an episode on him and just kind of tear him up. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice. We tore up Polanski. Let's tear Woody Allen apart next.
Yeah. And maybe the movie that we pick, we won't even like.
Maybe.
Because Woody Allen's been hit or miss for me personally.
Yeah, he's got a formula and he's been doing it for 50 years.
Yeah, and sometimes it's fine. Sometimes I'm like, come on, this is stupid, boring, you know. Hit or miss.
Speaking of hit or miss, Mila Jovovich and Dave Bautista are starring in a new fantasy epic called In the Lost Lands, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson and based on a story by George R.R. Martin. So, another steaming pile of fantasy epic from Paul W.S. Anderson. That's what I got from that.
Yeah, wonderful.
He's such a bad filmmaker.
Yeah, it sucks that his name is so close to the Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah. You imagine if there was like, you know, some up and coming like shitty sci-fi director named like Quentin Tarantino. I mean, legally he can't do anything about that.
Mike Lee.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. David Fincher.
Man.
Like, it's ridiculous. Although if I was, you know, an up and coming director and really bad at it, that's exactly what I would do, is take, you know, almost take a great director's name.
Bong Joon-ho.
Oh my God.
Jeez.
Speaking of him, I just watched a video that convinced me that Snowpiercer is a sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, I definitely want to check that out for sure. How long is the video? I've definitely heard about it.
It's like 17 minutes, but it is
Perfect.
wildly convincing. It's crazy. Ed Harris is Charlie Bucket grown up and crazy. So it goes from there.
Fantastic. I love it.
It sounds off the wall, but I went in thinking this is horseshit, and I left going like, I need to watch both these movies and compare and contrast because this is too real. I'm a believer now.
42 years of cinema being married between Snowpiercer and Willy Wonka. Yes.
Oh man. Next up, and this was exciting, but I've heard this before. I don't know if this is truer now. Neill Blomkamp announced he's finally started writing District 10.
Hey.
It's only been 2009. What?
2009?
Yeah.
12 years?
Yeah. I'm an English major. I can't math.
Well, yeah, that was up against Glorious Bastards and A Serious Man and Hurt Locker. Interesting year. Yeah.
One of the few sci-fi movies up for Best Picture. That hasn't happened very much.
Yeah.
But and a real like it's lasted. District 9 is a really good movie. Chappie and Elysium, not so much. The South African trilogy is not perfect.
Yikes.
And then he just kind of disappeared. Like he didn't do anything else. So maybe this is a comeback.
Chappie. Oh boy.
I'm very unfamiliar with this.
Chappie is
yikes.
Chappie was a movie made in 2015 about it took place in the future where there's like mass-produced robots in South Africa, and one of the robots gets like implemented with an experimental AI, and then stolen by these two like wannabe rapper assholes who teach the robot to be cool. And it's so bad. The robot's like learning about identity and humanity. And also these two assholes are teaching it how to rap and rob cars.
Yeah.
So
what genre is this movie supposed to be?
It's supposed to be a action thriller. It's an accidental comedy.
Yeah. Hugh Jackman's like completely lost his mind in that movie. Yeah.
Wait, Hugh Jackman's in it? This sounds bizarre.
He's wearing like cargo shorts and like a polo the whole time. Has like a little mullet. It's awesome.
Forgot about the mullet.
I kind of want to see it just for the mullet now.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, these two weird rappers find the robot, and they're played by an actual. Do you know Die Antwoord?
I know because of this movie. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what everybody says because that's these guys. Their fan base is so fucking weird. Yeah. They're a rap duo from South Africa. Ninja and Yolandi. Why do I know that off the top of my head? And they're like just such douchebags, like the worst people. And they're just like, Chappie, you do it like this. And it's so stupid. It's so bad.
It's a shit movie. Yeah.
And they were apparently like super divas demanding the craziest shit on set. Yeah, I know. And they have not worked since. And I think they broke up. So
perfect.
Yeah, Neill Blomkamp's coming back to Hollywood. Oh, I haven't seen Chappie in like 7 years. Maybe I should.
No. Keep it that way. Just keep the years adding up. No, with an IE.
What is this about?
You've definitely seen the poster. Yeah.
Oh my, that's what it is?
Yes. Yeah. That's it right there.
The trailer was so misleading.
Yeah. I remember the trailer, and this is not.
32% of Rotten Tomatoes. That's about right. Yeah.
The even crazier thing, the first half of this movie is a documentary.
What?
It's a documentary about this like robot factory in South Africa where they're like, yeah, we're doing new things with robotics. And Dev Patel's like, I can make them think. And Hugh Jackman's like, you're crazy. And then these two guys are like, we're stealing robots. And
2 hours?
And we're back on Rick and Morty.
Oh God. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So maybe, the more I'm talking about it, the more I realize maybe there's a reason Neill Blomkamp hasn't done anything since 2015.
Yeah, 6 years. Yeah.
Moving on. Rawson Marshall Thurber. You may know him as the director of Dodgeball and the guy with like most like 1890s Texas Ranger name I've ever heard. He's directing an adaptation of the video game The Division with Jake Gyllenhaal and Jessica Chastain set to star. Y'all ever played The Division?
No, but I've seen my buddy play it quite a bit. Looks like a pretty badass game.
I wouldn't know. Only child, so I watched me play video games.
Yeah, you were Mario. I was not even Luigi. Yeah,
I had a PlayStation. I didn't even play Mario.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm gonna see it because of Jake Gyllenhaal and Jessica Chastain. If they're signing on for it, maybe it's worth checking out.
I'll see basically any action movie with either of them in it, and then both of them together. Perfect.
Rawson Marshall Thurber. I just like saying his name. And finally, and I thought this was upsetting, but felt I needed to bring this up because the Golden Globes were yesterday. We're recording this on Saturday, February 27th, so we're not going to be able to showcase the Globe winners. Expect a full recap on next week's show. But former president of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, Mihir Tatna, admitted that the HFPA hasn't had any black members on the board in nearly 20 years.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. Like the Golden Globes this year especially, so much has come out about how fucking corrupt this whole thing is that all credibility is pretty much thrown out the window. So I don't know. Maybe this is the beginning of the end for what I've always felt was a pretty redundant award show anyway.
Yeah, and super interesting that we're talking about it before it happens, and I'm just sure it's not going to be the best show, under the circumstances and just all the fire that it's under. They've always been made fun of, just in general anyway. And then this year, it's just a lot of things are coming to light. Yeah, and it's becoming common knowledge that, like you said, they're just really corrupt.
Well, I remember one of the shows that got nominated, like everyone thought was a terrible show. Emily in Paris, I think it was called.
Emily Goes to Paris. Yeah.
Oh, I've heard about that one.
Well, the nominations came out of basically bribery. I mean, they were the Hollywood Foreign Press voters were brought to Paris, given put up in a great hotel, given great meals, and what do you know? This shitty TV show has 5 Golden Globe nominations.
Yeah.
Did you hear what the writer, I believe, said about it?
No, what did they say?
I believe she said that she pitched it to Netflix originally with it being, I guess, an Indian woman leading, and they didn't like it. They kind of dogged it a little bit, made a big deal, and she pitched it. I don't know how much time passed after that, but she pitched it again with a white woman lead, and they loved it, and they took it and nominated for all these things, and she's kind of just dumbfounded.
Jesus Christ. Ugh. It's infuriating. Yeah. It's every time it looks like things are getting better, shit like this comes out, and it's just
well the thing that made me the most angry about as a viewer was just a movie we all watched was Minari. How the fuck is that up for best foreign? It's A24 distributed. It's an American made movie filmed in America. What? It's about a movie. It's a movie about people in America moving from California to Arkansas. What? It's flat out disrespectful. And those things, as we are people who watch the movies, that you have power in what you tell people is in each category. And over time, if you say that this is what this is what this is, and you build it into people that they think it's going to be a foreign movie. No, it's not. It's pretty much as American as it can get. that film. That's really, really frustrating. I hate things that they do like that. And then you hear these bigger picture things of your board is basically just old white people. That sucks. That sucks.
Well, I hate that there's even a stigma around the phrase foreign film anyway.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
in this country that we have to even say like, be careful, there's subtitles like that. Shit, I'm tired of that.
Yeah, and then you do that. Double down. You double down on that. You double down on that by putting a movie that's not even foreign, like Minari. You're putting it into a hole, into like you're putting it into like a box, and I don't like that.
It's a movie about like literally the American dream in America. By half of it's in English. I mean, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Frustrating. But Inglourious Bastards is American. Yeah.
There's less English in that movie. God.
Dumb.
You know what this means, right? Basically, what we have to do is we have to write a script. We have to develop an amazing film. We have to get some power. We have to join the Hollywood Foreign Press and then dismantle this whole fucking thing.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is like the whole show needs to change. It needs to become a whole new thing that can become, because it's a lot about, it's like a popularity thing. It's like, okay, then let's actually nominate the people that are popular.
Well,
like Zendaya and John David Washington, and actually put Minari in drama. Like, I don't know. Stupid.
But the whole thing with the Globes, I mean, we have the Emmys, we have the Oscars. Like, why do we need this?
Yeah. So if you're gonna have it, it needs to be fair and be for the people.
Yeah. If you're not like, you don't even need to be here. So, behave. Like, that's the way I see it. Like,
Yes.
You weren't invited, so stop being an asshole.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You don't want to all award shows are pretty silly, right? Yeah.
Yeah, admittedly.
At the root they are, but it also does good things. It creates discourse for movies and sometimes gives a movie a chance to get in theaters more and make more money, and that's great. And it gives a guy a chance to make another movie right after. Those are really good things for filmmaking and certain filmmakers, but none of them are really reflective of how just everyday movie fans actually think and actually care, and that's pretty frustrating as you want it to reflect what we really care about,
True, but I think there needs to be a little bit of a line between people voting and people seeing movies. Otherwise, Best Picture 2006 would have been like Jackass 2. So
agreed. I agree with you. I still think that there should be it shouldn't be like American Idol where fans just vote. I definitely don't think that.
That's a hellscape. I don't want to live there.
You hear stuff about the board, for the Globes only watching 25 movies in the whole year.
Yeah,
that's not right.
That's ridiculous.
That's crazy stuff. Or to be a journalist under their criteria, they only have to have written 6 things over the past 2 years. What? So can I be on the?
We've written
that's bonkers.
50 times that in the past 6 months.
It sucks. All the stuff that's coming out about it's really frustrating, and because you want there to be legitimate opinions where the people that are voting for what we're watching, you want them to really know what they're talking about. I want them to have seen 100 movies in a year so that they have a full scope of everything that's come out.
I think it's ridiculous that we have higher standards than the voters of the Academy and the Hollywood Foreign Press. We won't talk about a movie unless we've actually fucking seen it. That's a big part of it. When I found out that the Oscars are only watching 15-minute segments, I wanted to punch a door. What is that?
Yeah.
Wait, that's really happening?
The Oscars have been, all of them. Again, all of these, the Grammy. Emmys.
They get a pile of submissions of films going, hey, I was awesome, vote for my film. So they send in a highlight reel. They'll watch the highlight reel and then think, oh, that deserves Best Picture.
Yeah.
That's really lazy.
Yeah. And now they're trying to change everything. They're trying. There's actual going to be rules in place now.
It should not take nearly 100 years to make them realize maybe we should watch the whole movie.
Yeah, it's the 93rd Academy Awards are about to happen in April.
Good Lord.
And we're just now figuring out that, we should probably have some diversity on the board of members who are going to vote, and we should probably watch all of the movies. Crazy.
It sounds like a mess.
It is.
It's ridiculous, and we've built an entire podcast around it just because we think it matters to an extent.
Yeah. That's the whole like fun of the conversation. It's all in context. Yeah.
The more I learn about the Oscars, the more I'm like, why do I care so much? But then I watch the movies and I'm like, that's why.
You care about the movies. You don't care that these group of people voted for, Frances McDormand or whatever. You care that Frances McDormand was in 3 Billboards and that she was in Fargo and that she was in these movies. And you care that someone recognized that. That's cool. There's something cool about that.
Well, I'm also a firm believer of like, once you hit like 75, 80, I don't think you should be in any sort of position of power. Like,
no, completely.
Yeah.
Politics, movies, manager at a gas station, anything. I think you are out of touch with the majority of the human race. You need to go away.
Yeah. And like, I know that there are people, critics and just, maybe people on podcasts that I would legitimately listen to them at the end of the year, vote on something because I trust them and I know that they've watched a bunch of stuff. If Wesley Morris of the New York Times was like, here's the top 10 movies of 2020, I would look at that list and take it very seriously because I trust that this guy has watched probably 100 movies from the year and has really taken them seriously. And that's what he does for a living. I trust that.
Well, I think that, we're kind of the new like generation of film critics. Like, this is how it's done now. Podcasts and YouTube videos. Like, this is how people review film these days. There's no Film Buff magazine anymore. Like, there's no column in the New York Times. I mean, there is, but nobody's fucking reading it. And I think they need to, understand that. I think they need to start looking at alternative, ways of reviewing film and maybe give some of these people, i.e. us, a little bit more say in the industry. Not necessarily us, but eventually when we hit a certain number.
I know what you mean. The podcast culture is has a huge part in how people see movies. Like if Sean Fennessy of The Big Picture says this Thomas Vinterberg Danish movie called Another Round is really good, a bunch of people are going to take that, go home and be like, yeah, I'm going to choose that because this guy recommended it instead of scrolling through Netflix for 2 hours and not choosing anything. People do that. I do that. There's a lot of people who do that.
Yeah.
And there's value in that. There's value in people creating discourse. And of course, you and I are always trying to do that with new and old movies. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we just did a whole Oscar Sunday where we were on very different pages the entire time. And I think it was, still, we got good content out of it. I want all facets of the industry to recognize just how much on the precipice we are of definitive permanent change, and they need to get with the program.
Yeah.
The Academy especially, because their voices matter. The Hollywood Foreign Press, theirs don't.
Yeah, I kind of get just made fun of. Yeah.
Well, that was what happened last week in film. Before we settle into our main event, let's talk about 2 other films that came out this week: Tom and Jerry and Minari. So first up, Tom and Jerry, the lighthearted sorbet, if you will. I didn't like the taste.
I didn't watch this one.
I'm a lifelong Tom and Jerry fan, and this was fucking stupid. It was insulting. It made no sense. Like, you have 50, 60 years worth of material, of cartoons, of adventures, ideas, and you make them beggars in Central Park who work in a hotel with Chloe Grace Moretz. That's the plan.
Yeah, I am a firm believer that you probably shouldn't touch a classic, and I consider Tom and Jerry a classic.
Yeah.
And so when they're like coming out with all these reboots and live actions and all that stuff, I'm like, be careful, because you could really mess up, like, I guess the reputation of the franchise.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I watched like the first 20 minutes, and even I was getting bored, but I could see that my 2-year-old child was like, this isn't for me, and like would walk off. And I'm like, all right, if she doesn't approve of it,
Yeah.
why am I going to sit here and watch the other like an hour and 40 minutes it was?
Yeah.
But no, it's kind of disappointing because I feel like Warner Brothers doesn't really miss. Because I mean, I watched the Scooby Doo remake that they did, and I was like, that was cute. It was nice,
Yeah.
but Tom and Jerry was nowhere near that.
This was, I think a big part of it is mixing live action and animation. I think there's a right way to do that, Space Jam, and there's a wrong way to do that, Looney Tunes Back in Action. So that's my spectrum for live action animation. And this was just, or correct me if I'm wrong, but did you feel this too? This felt like it came out in 2007.
Yes. Oh my god.
Did it give you
This did
Garth?
not feel like it came out this past Friday.
Mm-mm.
Oh my god. It looks like the live action Garfield from the little trailers I saw. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It had about that much value too. It was just, the cast is so like Chloe Grace Moretz, Michael Pena as the bad guy, like doing an accent, which is weird. I mean, he doesn't have an accent. I've heard him talk in interviews. He does not have an accent.
Yeah, no, the way he talks in like End of Watch is how he talks. Yeah.
Yeah. It's Rob Delaney was like the hotel manager. Tom and Jerry are just kind of like in Central Park. Tom's got a keyboard and he's in Central Park, like playing a keyboard. Everyone's like, hey, it's a cat playing a keyboard. This is cool. And I don't know. It's just, nobody really addresses the fact that like animals can talk or can't talk. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah. I was just telling my mom about that when I was watching. I was like, why can the other animated animals speak, but not them? And then the comedy on top of it that they were trying to like insert in the movie, I was like, this is not funny. And I can tell they're trying to be funny, so it's making it worse.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, exactly. This wasn't an accident. Like they really were trying to make something.
They were trying to hit a goal and they did not hit it at all.
I knew it was going to be a disaster within 30 seconds. As soon as the rapping pigeons showed up, I was out.
Yeah. I was like, this is questionable. And it just kept going down. I was like, all right, I'm out. I've had enough.
Yeah. But I had the pact. I made a pact with Caleb. We can't turn anything off. I had to power through. I mean, it was installments. I watched like 20 minutes of it. I watched 3 episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And then I went back in. I was watching a comedy and I wasn't laughing. I needed to laugh.
Yeah, I need to get out of here.
That was my goal, was to try and just sit through it. And I did what you did. Like I was going to come back after the first 20 minutes that I sat there, but I ended up watching something else. And I was like, yeah, it's not worth it.
Yep. Must be nice. I got to see these things through. I've watched so many horrible movies to the end credits. It's rough. This was just
got to get the review in too, you know.
Yeah, if I just review good movies, where's the fun in that?
That's true.
I remember the first Tom and Jerry movie. I had it as a kid where they talked for the first time and everyone was like, whoa. And yeah, I remember their reasoning was like, Tom's like, hey, how come you've never said anything before? And Jerry's just like, I didn't think you'd listen. It was ridiculous. Richard Kind was Tom.
Perfect.
Yeah. And they ended up like saving some orphan from a crazy ass like vet who wanted her dead, and her dad was alive. It was weird, but it was better. And I remember details of that. I don't remember a lot of details of this one, and I watched it yesterday. So yeah, 6 out of 10 for me. I wasn't going in with high expectations, but it is Tom and Jerry, and I wanted something. So yeah,
I feel like I cannot rate it because I didn't finish it.
fair enough. I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, and I don't intend on watching it, so fuck off, Tom and Jerry.
My favorite thing about this is that Willow didn't care.
He was so uninterested that if I had created this movie, I'd be offended because I'm like, you're two. You get fascinated by like your feet, but you're not going to sit through an hour and 40 minutes of this.
That's another thing. Hour 40 is too long for a kid's movie.
Very long. At least I guess for that, because like I mean,
Yeah,
you think about
you
it.
gotta be like Coco or Soul to be pushing that kind of fucking runtime.
But
Yeah,
that's like legitimate storytelling with like
Yeah.
purpose. This
Like
is
a
Tom and
Goofy
Jerry in a
movie?
hotel.
a Goofy movie is 78 minutes. Bam, perfect.
Sweet spot. So yeah, this was just a disaster.
If you can get under an hour 20, that's ideal. Yeah.
It's perfect.
But you know, if y'all do want to watch it, it is on HBO Max for a month, and then hopefully it's gone forever.
Who the hell is gonna want to watch it after hearing what we just said?
We just shitted on this movie.
I love
Anyway.
it. I hope there's somebody out there who's like just completely does not understand human emotion, and they're like, sounds like they liked it. Maybe I should check that out. The other movie, I really wanted to watch The Father. I was hoping to base this whole episode around The Father, and it comes out, but it doesn't come out here, and that sucks. So I don't know when we're gonna get to see The Father.
Yeah, I know, man. It might be one that we have to rent at some point.
I'm willing to. That's been on my list since like November. I really, really want to see that.
Yeah.
Love me.
Well,
some
we got to ahead of the Oscars. Yeah.
Minari. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I did not look it up. I thought this was very. I mean, the expectations were pretty high for this. I've heard nothing but praise on this for months now, and yeah, I think it was worth the praise. It was very good. It was a very emotionally charged family drama that I thought had a lot to say.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I thought it was properly hyped, you know?
Yeah.
Similar to Nomadland, where I was like, okay, I get it. This is pretty damn good, you know? I like this movie a little bit more than Nomadland, though, in terms of, you know, coming down the wire, coming down the award season. I think Minari is one of the strongest I've seen so far. It's important, you know, to have movies like this that create a conversation, like breaking the barrier of quote unquote foreign movie, and how this one is just, like we've said before, just as American as it can get. And I for one just thought the directing was you know, tremendous, and just a beautifully shot movie, that's for sure.
Yes, indeed. I thought Stephen Yan did a great job. I was a big Walking Dead fan, so it's nice to see him.
Was a big
No, was as well.
Yeah, was.
What season broke you guys?
9.
I don't remember the number, but it was close to a little after Negan popped on the screen. Love him. Thought he was a great character, but after a while, I was like, this is a lot. This is a bit much for me.
A lot of people checked out after that one. That was that broke a lot of people, just watching Negan beat the absolute hell out of two beloved characters.
Oh, and it sucked because Steven's character was my favorite, and I'm like, I don't know how to cope after witnessing this. So I was like, I'm just gonna check out. This is too much.
I wasn't emotionally broken because I think if you watch enough horror movies to the point where I think you get a little bit of a sadistic streak. Because I was kind of like, damn. And I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan, so I was following the bat with him. I was like,
take him out.
I'm not proud of that, but it happened.
No, understand you completely though, because he plays that role so well that I'm like, I want to be on your side, but at the same time, oh my God, you're doing a lot right now.
He's a larger than life presence of like, I can't believe this is a real human being. Like, who has that many complex emotions going on at once?
Yeah. It's
like
a lot.
Crazy, scary guy laughing his ass off while beating another man to death. I mean,
Going repeatedly. Like, it's not just like a couple swings, like he's just going constantly.
Yeah.
And with a smile on his face.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best villain introductions in pop culture history. I was like, fuck, this guy's scary. Like, immediately, as soon as he walked out of that trailer with the bat, I'm like, they're fucked.
Yeah. I had no hope for anybody.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a lot of people's last memories of Stephen Yeun is seeing his eye bulge out while Negan breaks him in half, really, with a bat. So it was nice to see him whole again as the patriarch of a Korean family here.
Yeah.
You could not.
Yeah, as a dad.
Yeah, you could not put those two projects farther apart. You really couldn't. It's great. Kind of makes me want to go back and watch Negan again, because he's still in the show.
Yeah.
Like, they never killed him. Amazingly. Like, I mean, I understand contracts and storytelling, but no way that guy lasts after they can't. Not forget it. Moving on.
I movie kind of blind. I didn't see any trailer. I didn't know who was in it, but I knew that Austin watched it earlier and he liked it. So when I saw Steven on screen, I was immediately invested because I was like, I actually like you. I know who you are. This is cool. And seeing him act this way was really cool. It was different from what I'm obviously used to seeing with him being on The Walking Dead. And he did a wonderful job. Everyone did a wonderful job. And I don't actually have any negative takeaways at all from the movie, I don't think.
I thought it dragged a little bit at times. But that might have been just me. I've been pretty tired today. I gotta acknowledge these. I gotta realize, like, is it the movie? I didn't get enough sleep. And I was up till 4 a.m. watching our next movie. And this was just I thought the guy who played his weird church friend, Paul.
Will Patton.
Will Patton, yeah.
That's our boy. That's our boy from Halloween.
What a strange character. Like, you don't see that kind of character in like a good guy role ever. Like, that's, head of the cult, like killing everybody kind of character. But in this, the weird guy who drags across the road every Sunday and speaks in tongues is actually a really good friend of the family.
I was anticipating on him to be like evil, and it never happened. I was like, oh, okay, that's nice.
Some Arkansas shit. Yeah.
Exactly. I was just talking about that with my mom. I was like, yeah, the biggest surprise of this movie was that nobody went after them. I don't want to sound crass, but in 1980s Arkansas, if a Korean family moves into town, they're going to be called some names. And the movie didn't do any of that, which means, like, did these guys, and I know this is semi-autobiographical, so did they were they accepted? That's a great. I love that.
Yeah, it was a pleasant surprise for sure, because I was waiting for something horrible to happen.
Yeah, like when they told him to stand up at church, I thought they were going to say, like, now get out.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's it though, is like, I think like I was with you guys. I was kind of like waiting for something like that to happen. And then when the bad thing does happen, it's actually it's the source is from their own family.
Yeah.
But I think there's far too many movies that, whether they be no matter what the time period is, if it's about an Asian family, a Black family in America, or Latino family, and the movie just has bits of like, here's where them going through racism. And that's in movies a lot. I mean, feels like it has to be there. And that was one of my favorite things about Minari, was like, oh my God, it's just about this family. Like they're really actually just honing in on this Korean American family just has emotions. They're just going through things like any family drama.
Yeah.
And I sincerely appreciated that they really honed in on the family. In those moments when they're in the church, or when young David goes to his friend's house and the dad's just like a little off, but he never actually says anything. I liked that. I found that to be painfully realistic, where it's like there's something in the room, but no one's really going to say it, you know? And that's really how it is in the Midwest and in the South. Like I was blown away by the tone, how tonally aware this movie is. It's pretty spectacular, because I find a lot of movies to take the route where they do something where like the husband gets beat up or something by some racist white guys. This movie actually just kind of focused on them, and that's really it. And that was really cool.
Yeah, that was refreshing to not have any racial trauma at all in the movie, because kind of see that a lot with movies now. And so I was kind of holding on, like anticipating for that, and it never happened. It was like you can finally like take like a sigh of relief that the movie's over and nothing happened to them like that. It was nice.
I think it's really sad that we were all expecting that.
Yep.
That we all have seen so many movies where that does happen, and heard so many stories where that does happen, that we were surprised that it didn't. That's really fucked up. The more you think about it. Like,
yeah, that's how we're like kind of trained. Yeah, we're kind of trained with that eye for there to just be trauma involved in someone who's not white, you know, a family who's not white. It's really crazy. It's really, really crazy.
Yeah, ridiculous. What do you think this film's Oscar chances are?
Oh, I think it has great chances. I really do. I think for multiple reasons. I think the fact that obviously a Korean movie did really well at this most recent Oscars. I think that bodes well for it, and the fact that it met expectations. People are wowed by it. People are really into it. People are renting it, and you know, just normal movie fans like us are really enjoyed it, or you know, finding it to be a really entertaining movie. The stupid, you know, subtitle barrier really is nothing. You know, this movie is pretty seamless in the way it moves. So yeah, I think it has great Oscar chances. And I think someone like Steve could be up for his performance.
Maybe. I don't know if I'd throw this any acting love. I could see maybe a director or screenplay nod. I don't think it's gonna. I think this is gonna be fairly ignored. I think.
Fair enough.
I have a feeling
like 2 or 3
at most.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think just I have a gut feeling. I think the competition's actually surprisingly stiff this year. So we'll see. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know. Do you happen to remember how Parasite did at the Globes?
I don't off the top of my head. No, I that's such a you know, tough question, because they do mirror each other sometimes. You know, the Oscars and Globes, and then there's sometimes where they're completely off. You know, and then the Globes has the whole thing of like, I mean, The Hangover has won a Golden Globe, you know, for best comedy / musical. It's just a totally different thing sometimes.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. At the Globes, it was only up for screenplay and director and foreign film, and it lost director and screenplay, won foreign film.
There you go.
All right. You know what? I might be wrong. Minari might actually get some love here.
The only reason I have high hopes for it, because I think Minari is the kind of movie, again, because of the kind of like controversy that it started around the Globes, and being in the Globes, all this stuff is happening around, all these stories coming out. I just think it would be really cool if the Oscars were like touche, and they gave Minari 6 or 7 nominations. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, but I also don't want it to happen just so they can say like, see, we're not corrupt and non-inclusive. Like,
that's part of the deal, though. That's part of the deal is you need to watch more movies, and you need to see more things from different places, from different kinds of creators.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means you got to like include other people in your in your watching library and kind of venture out. And these guys clearly don't do that often.
Yeah, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association does not really leave this country.
Yeah. I love this because we're recording it before the results. I can't wait to see them.
Yeah, I want to know what won. See if we're in the ballpark. I wonder, when are the Oscar announcements happening? Let's see.
I'm not sure. The show is April 28th.
Oh, that's a long time. Oscar nominations announcement March 15th. Oh shit, we're coming up. Okay, very nice.
Couple weeks.
Yeah, sweet. So yeah, Minari, I give it an 8.
Yeah, I give Minari a 9 personally. Yeah, I thought it moved like fucking butter. And yeah, I liked it a lot. I can tell I'm gonna rewatch it a few times in the near future. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also gonna give it a 9. I actually think I might have convinced my mom to watch it.
That's great.
Very nice.
So we'll see.
My family will randomly get sucked into random British dramas, and that'll consume 90% of their time. It's incredibly difficult for me to get them to see movies now.
Hey, COVID's changed all of us, huh?
I'm still trying to fight for Mank. Like, I'm still pushing that one. So I can't even start to get into 2021. I'm still pushing 2020 movies.
There's so many movies have come out since Mank that it's just like, yeah, the wave doesn't stop for anybody, Yeah.
Funny. I feel like a mom and pop store that just had a Walmart open across the street. Like, I can try my hardest to, say like, check this out. It's really good, but constant stream of never ending British drama over there. I can't compete with that.
That's great.
So let's get into the big one of the evening or morning, whenever you're listening to this. The United States versus Billie Holiday is based partly on the book Chasing the Scream, The First and Last Days of the War on Drugs by Johann Hari. And I didn't know a lot about Billie Holiday prior to seeing this film, especially not her drug problems. I didn't know about that. I knew about the song Strange Fruit. I had a whole unit on that in Maryland in ninth grade. We listened to that song and talked about it. But we talked about it pretty G-rated because it was public school. So we didn't really learn the full scope of the song. And I'm not surprised, but I am blown away with how desperate the government was to get rid of that song. Thoughts?
Take it away.
I think I went in actually knowing about this movie compared to Minari, where I didn't know anything. And so I was really excited. I love Andra Day, and I thought that was going to be a great opportunity for her to get out there. And I was also excited to see what her acting skills were like. And I think she did a really good job. I think the cast was pretty cool, but I'm very confused on what Lee Daniels' goal was, because I feel like he was kind of gearing it towards centering around the song Strange Fruit and how it ruffled feathers of people in higher places, I would say. And it just felt like he was struggling on staying with that, but centering the movie around that. And it felt like he was kind of like just hopping around from different plot points of what he wanted to focus on. It was like her drug problem, the abuse that she faced with men, the abuse with her mother. And then it's like, we're going to wrap up with the FBI, and then we're going to bring back in the Strange Fruit plot. And it just felt very confusing at some points. I feel like it had potential to be really effortless and clean if he would have just stuck to maybe one topic and just kind of highlighted bits and pieces of different things here and there. Because I think I've seen some of his movies and his TV shows even, and I think he does well. So it kind of took me aback to see that this movie was kind of choppy in some ways.
Okay, I could see that. I was surprised at kind of the negative reception of this movie. I thought it was really good. I totally see a definite lack of focus. I think that comes from biopics in general. I think when you're telling a story like this, you try to narrow your focus, but then you think like, well, I can't tell that without talking about this, and I can't talk about that without bringing this up, and then you just fall down a rabbit hole.
2 hours, yeah.
Very few films maintain, or biopic films maintain a focus the entire time. But I've learned to kind of throw that away just because I know this is probably going to have the same problem as the last one I saw. But I thought Andra Day was amazing. I thought she did an incredible job. I was really blown away, especially when I looked up her resume and found out she hasn't really acted that much.
No, she was like a voice in Cars 3, and she was like a nightclub singer in another movie, and that was it. So it's really cool to see her like have an opportunity to showcase what she has and what she can do. And she didn't let me down at all with that at all. I went in with sort of high expectations because I've heard her sing, and I'm like, they didn't put her in this role obviously just because she can sing. Clearly they see something in her, and she definitely did a really good job.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I liked it, and I feel like you're going to get into this part, so I don't want to jump ahead too far actually. So I'm actually going to let you take over.
Okay. I think this year's Best Actress category is going to be the most competitive of the entire show. I think at the Oscars. I think the amount of talent they've got, potential nominees so far. You know, we've got Andra Day, Carey Mulligan, Frances McDormand. This is looking pretty crazy. And they've all like been incredible and deserve this award. So I don't know who to root for this year. It's going to be great.
Vanessa Kirby.
Maybe, yeah. She got the Globe nomination. She might, yeah. Yeah, for sure. So this film was directed by Oscar nominee Lee Daniels, who was nominated for Best Director and Best Picture for 2009's Precious. Some of his other films include The Butler, The Paperboy, and he's planning to direct a remake of Terms of Endearment. I haven't seen Terms of Endearment, so I don't know. No? Okay.
No, I like Terms of Endearment. I don't understand why Lee Daniels wants to rehash it.
I understood.
Okay, yeah. Lee Daniels is not really for me too much. I'm not. The Paperboy is so ridiculous that I kind of love it, but it's insane. I think The Butler's has the same kind of problems that this movie has that we're talking about today, and what was the other one? Precious is all right. I think Precious is all right. I'm not too fond of movies that have that, you know, biopic syndrome where they fall to these kind of plot, you know, traps, and it wears me down. It makes the movie drag for me personally. Like, and this is the issue is when you take a figure like this who is so complex, like Billie Holiday, who was known for so many different things. You could make a 2-hour movie about how she was willing to stand up and fight for herself in bars. You can make a movie about her heroin addiction. You can make a movie about just her singing. You can make a movie about her childhood. You can make a movie. There's so many different things, and it's probably better off as like a mini series of some sort. But I felt like it was being kind of pulled in different directions, and had it not been for the lead performance, I just think this movie would have got kind of like lost. And it's not to say that it didn't have interesting things, but you know, when I'm watching a movie that I'm anticipating to be, you know, of a certain level, and it's using the kind of like cross dissolve to transition from one scene to the next, I was like, what is this? It felt like at moments I was in like a History Channel like documentary, and I don't like that. I don't like that when I'm trying to watch a serious movie, and those kind of biopic-y things kind of took me out of it, because there are movies that don't fall to those things, like Judas and the Black Messiah, which has the slight advantage of taking someone who was only 21 fucking years old when he was assassinated, that they have a lot less time, quite frankly, to work with. So you can really hone in and focus on the last couple of years of his life. This movie, United States versus Billie Holiday, I feel like the scale is too big and Lee Daniels is trying to attack too many things. So I agree with Brianna. I liked it to an extent, but I was also a little frustrated with the sloppiness and the choppiness.
Yeah, fair enough. It is very broad. And the trailer did promise a kind of narrowed focus on the actual strange fruit case. And
yeah,
I can see that. I come from, a history lover's background. So I tend to equate these films with, I'm learning. That's how I do it with these. So I really do not, I turn that off, but I totally get where you're coming from. Very interesting.
It makes it for a good conversation. I knew while we were watching it, we were both like, all right, she's damn good. Like, she's damn good. And what's his name? Our boy from Moonlight. Cannot remember his name. Trayvon Rhodes.
I think it's Trevante.
Trevante Rhodes. I mean, I think he's like just got a superstar look. This guy's, if he finds the right roles, I think he's could be like a superstar. I really do. And I think there are other really interesting casting decisions. Man, this has the biopic syndrome. It has it for sure.
It does. I think, I don't mind the biopic syndrome. It's yeah.
Fine. I don't mind the stigma around slashers. Like we all have our things that we just kind of like. That's fine. And it's also a movie about Billie Holiday. If you don't know a whole lot about her and you are an adult like you, and you can take things with a little bit of grain of salt, I think it does have some good things to say and has some cool things to say, and shows just how tough it was to be her. But it also, for people who are going to take everything for truth and run with it, they might get a little confused on who she really was.
Yeah. That's true. Like, did she really have an ongoing affair with a federal agent?
I'm not too sure about all that, but it was pretty focused on the movie.
That felt like Hollywood, that didn't feel like it really went like that.
Did at the end though. Well, but they didn't really highlight if he did have a relationship with her. They said that he felt guilty for, I guess, misleading her and all that.
Well, yeah. Jeez, that was a whole nother movie. Whenever he would be walking back to the office and there's just a bunch of white, detectives staring at him, and I was like, okay, there's a whole nother movie that you've unraveled here.
Yeah.
It's like, man,
I can see what you mean when you said it definitely had like the prom. It could easily be like a limited or mini series, because
oh my god, it would kill as a mini series.
It had so many like loose ends, I guess. Like, you could definitely like,
it's a lot of fascinating stuff.
Yeah, you could definitely follow him and his journey with being a Black FBI agent, and then trying to also mix with, I don't want to say the white department, but you can clearly tell it's like separated, like him going back and forth between offices, and then you can focus on Billie and like her like road family, her tour family.
Yeah, okay. That was a whole nother movie too.
Yeah.
That whole crew, I wanted more of them. I wanted them to be really free with the screenplay. I don't think they ever were. Her crew they seemed like fascinating people.
Yeah, I want to get the names right, so make sure I have everybody's names.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Connor. Yeah.
It felt, I'll admit that it did feel like Judas and the Black Messiah, Almost Famous, and A Star Is Born kind of shoved into the same movie.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Just, it has all those pieces. And
especially Judas obviously is the one that's really recent. It's a very, very good movie. And you have the FBI thing where you have one of the key characters in the movie, in that one, Lakeith Stanfield. So what do we got? It is Trevante Rhodes. Yes. Yeah.
I think there's a lot there's a lot of things that weren't like, I guess, fully touched on either, because you have somebody insinuating that her and Tallulah have been together, and that was never confirmed.
I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, that was just brought up and left there. That was weird.
Yeah, and it's like, why would you even like plant that seed if you're not gonna show us or like at least elaborate on that a little bit? And I feel like it kind of gave a promise that we're gonna see a lot more of like Natasha on the screen, but we didn't, and that was kind of disappointing for me, because I was kind of excited to see her also in this. But
yeah, why cast Natasha Lyonne if you're not going to use her?
She wasn't even like really a secondary character at all.
No.
She was sprinkled in here and there.
One thing that did bug me, we never really got a finalization of her interview.
Nope.
That too.
Like they kept going back to that as a framing device, but then they just stopped. And I kind of lost track of the timeline.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
You definitely lose track of, and then when you feel like you're kind of gathering yourself, there would be a moment in the movie where she's like, I'm singing the fucking song. And you're like, wait, what? Oh yeah, it's about the song. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the timeline definitely got mixed up for me. And then when I thought I was
holding it up. She's holding this movie down, man. She's
she's
good.
Doing a great job, but I felt like once I like got like some structure, like as to, oh, okay, I know where we are now. It cut to that scene where after she shoots up with the agent and like they're walking in on this scene of like a lynching. I'm just like, what is happening? I was like super confused. I looked down for a second and I looked back up and it was the scene. I was like, did I miss something important? And I was like, I almost want to ask you to rewind, because I just don't understand how we got here.
Yeah.
And I see what he was trying to do, maybe, possibly. I could be completely wrong, because there wasn't much for me to like grasp there.
It did feel with that he was like, oh wait, we haven't had any racial trauma in a while. We got to remind people, oh, this is that kind of movie.
Yeah.
It is a little disingenuous.
Something that Minari did not do. Yeah. Oh, just fucking around. Yeah. No. I think we're unraveling some stuff here for sure with this movie, and it's one that I was really excited to talk about, because I knew it causes, biopics always cause an interesting conversation, because they're either going to be like, oh my God, that was amazing, or they're going to create a conversation like this. And I kind of love that.
I think it's funny. I feel like 9 episodes of this show, and I've already backtracked more scores than I ever have on the Filmgazm podcast. I've had to rethink so much on this show, and like, wait a minute. Oh boy. I thought it was cool to see Tyler James Williams as Lester.
Yes. Oh yeah, that was a good performance. Yeah.
No.
Very good.
That was a whole nother. Okay, I was like, all right, they clearly have like a brother and sister kind of relationship here. I want to watch a movie about them too. So many doors.
Really though, it's just, I don't know. I loved his character so much too, that by the time that she, left them in that field or whatever, and then you never see him again, and then all of a sudden it's like Perez is dead. And like, you're like, what?
Yeah.
You're not gonna see him. There's no funeral. There's no nothing. Like, you're introducing this character that's like kind of like her right-hand man, and then there's no conclusion for him, really. Like, you don't get to see him.
I guess they want the audience to have the same kind of emotions that Billie Holiday had, where like she didn't get a lot of closure in her life. I don't know.
That's true.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That could just be reading into it a little too deep.
I mean, you have no choice but to kind of read into it. There's so many loose ends. So you kind of have to try and make certain things make sense so that the movie kind of makes sense.
Well, yeah, because there are movies that try to make you feel as if
you're the character.
Yeah, like one of my favorite things about Whiplash from 2014 is that they kind of put you into Andrew's shoes.
Yeah.
Things are like quiet, and then they're really loud, and you're always kind of in his perspective. And I think maybe a biopic can do that, can really put you in their shoes and make you feel what they're going through, maybe.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was his goal, and that's why maybe some of it felt so confusing and choppy, because maybe her life was so fast paced and
that could be it. Biopics do that to me a lot. They put me, they draw me in, they make me kind of experience this person's life.
Mhm.
And it can, biopics made me cry more than any genre of film. I mean, the last one that really like eviscerated me that way was Judgment at Nuremberg.
Oh,
And that's a whole nother conversation. But
it's a stellar movie. Yeah.
You want to cry for 3 hours, watch Judgment at Nuremberg.
Yeah.
But this movie, it did that too at times. There were times that were, I found myself getting very emotional. Namely, like the lynching scene and then her kind of aftermath of that was really hard to ignore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the stuff with her as a child, is extremely rough. Yeah.
I think the weird thing is throughout the whole movie, I kept coming back to Judy Garland. She reminded me so much of Judy Garland.
Judy, yeah. Yeah, so if fucking Renee Zellweger can win for this, then I don't understand why Andra Day can't win for.
Well, not just the movie Judy, but although there are a lot of similarities there, but like the actual person of Judy Garland and Billie Holiday, they have a very similar trajectory in their lives and careers.
She even pointed that out in the movie.
Yeah,
they do. I remember that. I remember thinking like, holy shit. And I was thinking about that before they brought that up. And I'm like, I knew I was on the right track.
Yeah.
Judy.
I learned a little bit of Judy. And so when she made the reference, like, oh, yeah, I see that. I definitely see that.
That's another movie that has a little bit of biopic syndrome. Yeah, Judy.
Yeah, but also made me cry.
Yeah, because it's brutal. This movie's brutal too.
There's a lot of pain in this movie for sure, in different ways. I mean, I automatically knew kind of what the vibe was going to be with just the opening scene alone, because you're reading about it and then it cuts into that image of a lynching and the aftermath of that, where the person's burning. You're just like, man, and you're sitting there like taking it all in. And that almost made me want to get like a little emotional as well, because I'm like, that's you're not expecting that to be the opening view of what you're going to see, and completely catches you off guard. But it goes back to, for me, the movie just not really feel like it has like a main plot point, because the song is Strange Fruit, but yet I don't want to see lynchings, but yet you only see like 2, I think, in the movie. And they're kind of oddly placed, I guess, for me. So,
true. I agree with that. It's almost like an afterthought.
Yeah.
I thought the title was awfully clunky. I mean, I think Strange Fruit would have been a great title for the movie.
I think they might not have done that because there is a Michael Brown documentary called Strange Fruit.
Oh, okay.
And her song is played maybe throughout the movie, but I know it's played like somewhere in the opening and ending credits.
Oh, okay. Well, that explains it then.
That'll be why.
But it's the more I think about it, the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, yeah, there's some problems. Let's talk a bit about the bad guys here. Harry Anslinger.
Anslinger, yeah, fucking douche.
Just an absolute prick. And Garrett Hedlund, he's pretty good at playing a prick.
Yeah, he did a pretty good job of just playing the like all-star, all-American prick.
Hoover's boy.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Fucking Hoover.
Is there any human being who's done more damage to the American people than J. Edgar Hoover? I don't think there is.
That's a huge question, but yeah, he's definitely in the running. Yeah.
50 years of running the FBI and just going after anyone he deemed unworthy.
Yeah.
Ugh, sick. With Judas and this back to back, I've lost a lot of respect for government and just federal agents. Like I have.
Right.
Ugh, can't handle it anymore.
Doesn't it suck that Leo played him in that biopic, which has a lot of biopic syndrome? Yeah.
I got to see that movie because I need to know if he plays him as like an American hero or the monster he rightly was.
you do need to see it, and I'm not going to say anything. It's just a shit movie. Yeah.
I've heard that. I've heard that it's not really worth the like 2.5 hours.
I saw it in theaters, and I was like, "This is okay." You know, I was young. When I saw it in theaters I saw it with my dad, and then watched it again like at home, and I was like, "Ooh, this is rough. this isn't very good." Plus, Army Hammer's in it, and yikes.
Oh, that's not even. I don't even know what that whole thing has been so crazy and so outlandish. Like, I don't know if it's true, but it's not looking good.
He's on the cover of like People magazine now. Uh-oh.
To be like outed as a fucking cannibal, like what the hell does that? I mean, how do you prepare for something like that?
It sounds so outrageous that you question if it's true. But there's so many people talking about it. I'm just like, it's not looking good for you, bud.
Well, I've read the alleged tweets. He hasn't exactly done a great job of, damage control. And
I know, man. Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I don't know. Maybe the Lone Ranger's a fucking lunatic.
Yeah, the Winklevoss twins. Yeah, we're up to no good.
The man from U.N.C.L.E. just couldn't catch a break. I don't know. I don't know any more of his movies.
Call Me by Your Name.
Oh, God.
That's the one with like a 17-year-old boy. Oh,
that already is controversy too.
Yeah. Timothy Chalamet. Tisk tisk. Yeah.
Tisk tisk indeed. Oh God.
Yeah.
So
Michael Stuhlbarg was probably like, God, what the fuck?
Oh, I bet Luca Guadagnino is like, there goes my trilogy.
Yeah. Damn it. Yeah.
Oh God. He was gonna be Green Lantern, I think. Or somebody. We're prepping him for a superhero role. I know that.
Oh yeah, I mean, he was doing just fine this whole past decade. Yeah.
It's amazing how fast your career can just evaporate. You don't even need proof. Somebody just has to say something and you are gone. It's kind of crazy.
And then other people are like, yeah, it's true. I have a crazier story.
Yeah. Armie Hammer tried to fucking eat me. That's an actual accusation that people are making.
Oh, he tried to eat you? Well, he tried to cook me.
Fuck. Is this the first time like an active fucking serial killer has become a movie star?
Yeah.
Find out, I guess, as this unfolds.
Hannibal Lecter wannabe is just roaming the streets.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
How
and
long
his wife, or I guess, I don't know if they're separated, owns a bakery here in San Antonio.
Oh.
Which one is it?
Called Bird Bakery. How about that? Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to harass her or anything, but I do want to go.
No, I don't think they're really ever there. I think they just own it, and they come here every now and again. Yeah.
Another one of those. Okay.
Yeah. I saw Armie Hammer one time because my dad was in the bakery industry for a long time, and Armie Hammer visited my dad's warehouse in his building when he used to work at Johnson Brothers Bakery Supply, and he was on a moped, Armie Hammer, just riding around in San Antonio on a moped. So yeah, right then and there, I was like, I don't know about this guy.
Was he tailing a potential victim? Like, what was going on there? It's not like you can hide in a crowd if you're a movie star.
Yeah, he's like 6'3". So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, weird image, but now, I mean, that would have been 7 or 8 years ago. So yeah, I was quite a bit younger. I was a teenager at that time.
How long do you think it'll be before Disney Plus takes the Lone Ranger off of their service?
Oh, that's an excellent question. Over under 2 months. What do you think? I'm gonna go over, just a little over. Two.
Enough time for them to start really looking into this, determine whether or not it's bullshit or he really is a monster. Yeah. And I hope one day to hear the time suck on Armie Hammer.
I saw I actually saw People magazine at we were at Target, and the headline was like, "It's way worse than you think." You know, it's like a picture of Army Hammer, and it's like, oh,
that is the last phrase you want next to your face.
And I'm like, here's my $8.99. I want to read this shit.
Oh my God. That's incredible.
That's a whole nother depressing story. Me buying People magazine.
There was ever a reason to, it's to read about how Army Hammer might be a serial killer. Not just a serial killer cannibal. I mean, I don't want, I don't want to say worse than a serial killer, because a serial killer is pretty bad. But you start eating people, there's a new level of fucked up. Is there anywhere past that? I think that's the top.
Yeah, I think like I mean, if you're like burning people and eating them, yeah, that's pretty it's probably at the top of the list there. Yeah.
Well, cooking them. I don't know if he's eating them burned. I mean, I wouldn't want my meal ruined,
Oh my God. Yeah, just well done. Man, don't get carried away.
I don't know how that works, but I got to assume they're putting a little care into the cook, a little, some shallots, a little olive oil, something.
Easy.
Don't just eat it raw like a fucking savage.
Oh my God.
Jesus, I'm not an animal.
I could just see this being played back to me in court.
Oh, mine flashed to there. And I was like, oh shit.
How did we get here? I don't remember how we got to Army Hammer's fucked up.
How did we get to Army Hammer?
I remember the last thing we were talking about was the agent Anslinger, and then
and
then we went to
wow,
and then
Hoover.
Army?
This is Hoover's fault, of course. Just like fucking everything.
Yep. Thanks, J. Edgar. I hope you're looking up at us right now. We all know where that motherfucker went. So yeah, Anslinger is just a real sour son of a bitch who is so determined to bring down Billie Holiday because she's a strong Black woman living life her own way. That's what it's all about. And this song makes people think about what's happening in their country and what people are doing. And I can't believe the FBI. Oh, I can believe it. I just fucking hate it that the FBI was putting vast amounts of resources into just ruining her life so that nobody would know about the song. Like, what the fuck? The more I learn about this stuff, the more I just think, like, how the hell have we ever been painted as the good guys? I mean, America has done so much irreparable damage to its own people. And I just think about, like, in elementary school, we're raised to be like, oh, Christopher Columbus was a good guy, and oh, the civil rights movement was peaceful, and all this stuff. It's all propaganda and bullshit, and we believe it for so much of our lives. And yeah,
frustrating.
It's really frustrating.
It's so weird, let down, like you pointed out, like in elementary school, everything's kind of like painted as a fairy tale almost. But then as you get older, you're like, oh shit, this is not what I learned and what I grew up on at all.
Yeah.
And then snowballing. I remember when I first, different movie, but I remember when I first learned about kind of like what the Judas and the Black Messiah movie was based on. And it didn't seem believable to me because we're always being fed, everything was kind of all right and nothing was this violent or dark. And then you hear about it and you're just like, there's no way. It just seems so twisted and unraveling everything and how America can be very dark. It doesn't, I don't know how to explain it.
I had one history class in high school, and it was taught by the football coach. And yeah, you see why I want to be a history teacher? That's why. And
all right, guys, open up to page 69.
We had like 1 week on the civil rights movement, and we only talked about Martin Luther King, and we had a vocab quiz. That's all we did on the civil rights movement. We didn't go into detail. He read from the teacher's edition. We did the vocab quiz. We matched terms. We filled in the blanks. We moved on to Vietnam.
Yeah. For whatever reason, you're expected to, if you want to really learn about Black American history, you like have to do it yourself. Okay, I guess like you have to seek it out yourself. It's unbelievable, but I hope people learn, to do that, because it's just simply not going to be done for you. It's not going to be handed to you in the right way, and if it is, it's not going to be told truthfully. So you really do have to seek out things, and it's nice to see now in 2021 that there are biopics in place like this and like Judas and the Black Messiah that really can try and teach a lesson and be like this, like Brianna said, this is how dark it actually is. It's not there is no way to kind of beat around the bush. It was assassination, it was evil, it was torture. These things, it's important for the medium to recognize that and actually be used for that reason, because we can go on and on. The history books just don't say it. They just choose to not have those stories in there, from like kindergarten to college. Like that's just how it is.
Well, the really fucked up part is now they're trying to rewrite the history books to erase that side of history, to make us, like Texas history books especially, or, they're trying to remove slavery from the textbooks. They're calling it like, making it seem like it was an option and shit like that. Like we're trying to erase the worst parts of America to paint us as the hero. And that is so frustrating to somebody who really cares about history and wants people to know the truth of where we came from. It's not pretty, but it's ours. And we need to embrace that. Now, I firmly believe in those who don't understand their histories are doomed to repeat it, because we do that all the fucking time. We're in the middle of it right now.
Yeah.
And I just get really heated about the erasement. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm using it, of history.
Yeah, no, that I don't understand what they think they're gonna, what's the outcome of erasing all of it? Like, I mean, yeah, sure, you're not pointing, like the finger's no longer being pointed at like you, but like what is anyone gonna gain or learn from that? I don't understand.
Nothing. That's the point. They don't want us learning anything. They want to keep us complacent and, pledging allegiance. That's the whole point.
Yeah. Pawns.
The more I realize it's depressing.
Yeah, it's incredible. See why I want Godzilla? This has been every episode of this show.
Yeah, and then
we did Batman.
And then we got the little things, and that just wasn't even a good movie. So like it's like, God damn it.
That scene where she tries to sing the song and is immediately rushed by the cops immediately gave me flashbacks of Lenny.
Oh yeah, good call.
And how First Amendment rights are kind of a fucking joke in this country.
Yeah.
But I kept coming back to a lot of stuff.
Yeah, performing on a stage.
Yeah.
Insane.
So the United States versus Billie Holiday currently sits at an IMDb score of 6.3, Rotten Tomatoes score of 56%. It is a Hulu original, so that's where you can always find it.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys would like to add about this movie?
You got anything?
I mean, not really. I feel like the only positive take that I did enjoy was her receiving actual love, because I feel like she never did throughout anything with her mom, with past relationships, with the public, and with her drug abuse. So it was nice to see someone who feels like they're on the defensive all the time, have someone kind of like break those down and genuinely love her. And it's if this is anywhere near the truth like the movie is, then it's nice to see that maybe she did leave this world experiencing genuine love at some point.
Yeah, that would be nice. Again, Judy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I give the film an 8. I thought it was eye-opening, thought-provoking, incredibly well acted, and infuriating. The one thing I can say about biopics, regardless of how accurate they are, they get people talking. They get people thinking about these people. They get people to maybe do a little extra research and learn about who these people really were.
Yeah.
I think they're wins.
I appreciate that. I like that. I like that. I think it's harder for me. I'm kind of jealous of that. It's harder for me to look at a movie's kind of influence. Like I appreciate it, but I also personally give the movie a 6 because I just think it had a lot of room to be better, had a lot of potential, and just kind of left those doors open. But we have someone who's clearly here to stay in Andra Day. She's hopefully going to get all kinds of movie roles because she's clearly got pipes, but she's also has kind of a pretty easy ability to be on the screen. Yeah.
She should play Audrey in the Little Shop of Horrors remake.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. That'd be cool as shit. I had previously thought Kiersey Clemens, but yeah, that's actually this would be better. Yeah.
Well, it's Scarlett Johansson, regrettably, but it should have been Andra Day. I
like Scarlett Johansson, but yeah, now I would prefer this after you hearing that. Yeah.
Can she sing?
Not really.
I've heard
she can sing like jokingly. Yeah. Like,
yeah.
Like Saturday Night Live singing. Yeah.
What movie was she in that she was singing in? I feel we watched it recently.
I don't know.
Not Andra Day, for sure.
Hail Caesar.
Oh, she does sing it. Yeah, she performs a bit in that and does a little singing.
Nice.
That's not what it was it though?
It was a kid's movie, sure. But I
don't know.
I'm gonna look at it.
She sings a little bit of Marriage Story. She does a little quick little papa. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I like her, but I like that call of Andra Day playing.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
We'll see. I mean, that cast is looking kind of neat. I mean, Taron Egerton is going to be Seymour, so I'm okay with that. And then Billy Porter is Audrey 2, so he's going to be the plant. And Chris Evans is the psycho dentist. So I'm okay with that. I don't know. I think Andra Day can sing, and that's better.
Yeah. It's Sing, the animated movie.
There you go.
She played the porcupine.
Came out the same year as Hail Caesar.
Brianna, what's your score on this film?
I also give it a 6, but I do like that it is causing conversation. I saw a bunch of articles about it and people were talking about it. And I like that that's at least a conversation and people are talking about not only her, but, the song and the history behind that as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's anytime people embrace history of any sort, it's a win for me. And I like seeing people, learn. It's nice. We don't learn anymore.
No, it definitely opens some people's eyes, and I can appreciate that for sure.
Well, that is all for this week, folks. I want to thank Brianna for being here today. This was awesome.
Thank you guys for having me.
Next week, we'll be talking about the Golden Globe winners and also dig into some of these films. We got quite a large bunch of options. 5 films are coming out next week.
Oh boy.
Coming to America on Amazon Prime, Raya and the Last Dragon on Disney Plus, Chaos Walking in theaters, Boss Level in theaters, and Moxie on Netflix. Check out next week's show to see what we get to talk about. And also don't miss a Best Picture showdown on Chariots of Fire on Oscar Sunday and our 2-year anniversary special Top 20 Scary Movie Countdown on Wednesday's Filmgazm podcast. Thanks for listening. Have a great week and keep watching movies.